In this talk, I'm going to discuss the mysterious link between the music of the ancient Egyptians and the ancient Hebrews. First of all, the lyre I'm playing is a replica of the lyre of the ancient Hebrews, and the design of this lyre, made by Mid-East Ethnic Instruments, if you want to search for their website on Google, is based on these illustrations found of the same instrument on 1st century Jewish coins from the time of the Simon Bar Kokhba revolt against the Romans. In short, Simon Bar Kokhba wanted to overthrow the Roman occupation of Judea and rebuild the Jewish temple, which was destroyed in 70 CE by Titus and his Roman legions. And on the back of these coins that he overstamped, he did illustrations of temple vessels, but most importantly of temple instruments, including the kinnor lyre, which I'm playing. It also has 10 strings, which significantly, as far as I'm concerned, must have obviously represented the 10 Commandments. We also have further verification of this from the writings of the 1st century Jewish historian Josephus Flavius, who actually witnessed the services in the Temple of Jerusalem over 2,000 years ago. So back to ancient Egypt. Although the ancient Egyptians didn't have a written form of musical notation, they did have a musical notation which used hand gestures to represent changes in pitch of a melody. This is known in musicological terms as chironomy, which is spelt Chironomy. If you Google search chironomy in the ancient world, there's a fascinating essay on the subject by biblical musicologist John Wheeler. So chironomy was first deciphered by the work of the late Professor Hans Hickman of the museum in Cairo. And his work was also further verified by the discovery of playable ancient Egyptian flutes in this minor pentatonic scale. It sounds almost Chinese when you hear it for the first time. So what is the connection between the chironomy of ancient Egypt and the music of the ancient Hebrews? Well, in 1976, after almost a whole lifetime of research, the late Jewish composer Susan Haik van Chora claimed to have discovered the original music of the Hebrew Bible, including the 3,000-year-old music of the Psalms. How did she achieve this claim? Well, she concentrated on the 7 mysterious signs, centuries known as the Te-Amim, mysterious accents found attached to the oldest surviving text of the Hebrew Bible, the Masoretic text. Haik van Chora was convinced that these preserved a reading tradition going way back to the days of the Temple of Jerusalem, and she was sure that there was a musical significance to these symbols, and finally she had the breakthrough. The 7 signs represented 7 notes of a heptatonic scale, 7-note scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, back to do. Incredible. How did she do this? She discovered that these 7 signs were actually transcriptions of chironomy gestures, the same musical notation used in ancient Egypt. What's the significance of this? Well, if Moses, as the biblical tradition goes, was educated in Pharaoh's court, he would have been obviously schooled in everything there is to know about Egyptian music, including chironomy. These gestures could well be proof of the historical fact of Moses' existence. Who knows? Anyway, for further details, please see my website, www.ancientlyre.com, and there's a whole section in the historical detailed section of your website about this amazing subject. So let me just take you briefly through how the lyre is tuned. And the top note here is A, F, E, D, B flat, A, F, E, D, B flat at the bottom. I'm going to talk you briefly through the first track of my album King David's Lyre, Echoes of Ancient Israel, which is available from cdbaby.com and which can be downloaded from Apple iTunes. The first track I call the Music of Moses for this very reason, to convey the musical connection between ancient Egypt and the ancient Hebrews. And it's an improvisation on this minor pentatonic scale, which goes something like this. Music of Ancient Egypt.